Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Well, today in this video, we are going to talk a bit more about this tragic event of these two police officers who were killed in what seems like a totally pointless act, doesn't it? But we're starting to learn a little bit more about why the five boys. So this happened in Cleveland, of course, in the UK. Five boys in a car driving the wrong way down the A66 in Cleveland in the UK crashed into these poor guys who were literally on their two policemen on their way home from a shift, and 10 seconds after, they weren't involved in the chase, but 10 seconds after the police that were chasing the boys that were in the car, they stopped chasing because the boys went onto the A66 in the wrong direction. So the police that were pursuing them stopped chasing them because, of course, it would be dangerous, not only to them, to the boys, the car of the two police guys, Tom Clough, 38, and Matthew Blades, 37. As I say, they were nothing to do really with the original chase. They were coming home after their shift. This is just a terrible tragedy. And all the five boys that were actually in the car that was going the wrong way down the A66, they all died too. 17 and 23. So it really is just such a horrible tragedy, just wasted lives. So many families that have, you're looking at 7 people killed, and it comes on the heels of a similar incident in Ireland where another 5 boys were killed, and a family are still in hospital with in critical or serious condition. So that's 10 young boys have died because of this, because of nothing. I mean, the thing is, it's just so pointless. There was no purpose to it, really, is it? Or no gain for anyone. And as I say, just the boys themselves, the 2 police officers, the family in Ireland, all their friends, all their family, the first responders, the ambulance crew, the paramedics, people who had to cut these bodies out of wreckage. Just horrible. It is such a horrible incident, isn't it? That and these were the boys that were killed in the crash in England in Middlesbrough area. Young boys. Now we're learning that they have gang ties. So a lot of people have been arrested. There seems to have been some connections to organised crime, to gangs. Some parts of Britain are just unpoliceable. We're now finding out that this boy in the middle here, just before this incident happened, some other boys in a different car had rammed his father's house. Literally driven a car into the wall of his father's house. So there's some sort of retribution perhaps involved here. So this is a massive investigation, isn't it, that police are going to have to deal with. It's a complex investigation. There's no evidence that the boy's father was involved in organised crime, etc. It feels like it was gangs. I don't know. Anyway, there's so much to come out, but I just wanted to give you an update. I may not cover this again until it's actually, goes a bit further down the line, because there's so much coming out. Maybe we're better to wait until we've got all the information, or nearing. Well, they're not going to be trials because these boys are dead, but there'll be trials of the other people that have been arrested. There's been a lot of people arrested in connection with this for various offences. Even more people were arrested yesterday. That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Now, we are going to have a little bit of waffle beforehand. As you know, I will cut the waffle out when I upload this on my other channel. So if you don't like the waffle, fair enough. I understand. Not everybody likes it. Now's the time to go and have a shower or make a cup of tea or whatever. But the first little bit of waffle that I just wanted to say was, I just wanted to mention about Dolly Parton, who died sadly yesterday. I will be doing a tribute to Dolly. I'm not going to talk about her much in this video because it's not fitting to do a tribute to Dolly Parton and all the positivity she brought to the world in her long stay on this earth, because she was 80 when she died. But it's nothing these days, is it? But what a positive, person who came from nothing but always stayed humble and close to her roots. Very sharp sense of humour that she kept with her. The love of her life sadly died not that long ago. It's thought that, did she have like a broken heart? Anyway, as I said, I'm not going to go into that too much in this video. I just wanted to mention it. I couldn't not mention it. And the only good thing about Dolly's passing is my timelines on all my social media are full of videos of Dolly singing, talking, being interviewed. And that has been a pleasure. I've been crying but laughing at the same time. So, yeah, rest in peace, Dolly. And thank you so much for all the, that's a positive contribution that this woman gave to the world, various, in various ways. And she wasn't given the best start in life, so you look at these boys, I don't know what their, home circumstances were. A lot of people blame people's, deprivation of some kind for the way that they turn out. But a lot of people that come from very difficult backgrounds like Dolly, they do the opposite. They turn it round and they create a positive contribution to the world. So the opposite, really, of what these boys did. Sad, actually, because, they've died young. And although they're probably heroes in their gang culture and their subcultures, etc., I don't know. But generally, in the eyes of the world, they're not, they're not positive. They're not heroes. They haven't contributed anything positive to this world, to the world in general. I'm sure their family love them, and I feel for their families. Having said that, one of their families was blaming the police, saying the police shouldn't have chased them for so long. It's their fault. Oh my God, how can you blame? These boys are responsible for what happened to them. Certainly the driver. They're responsible. That's part of the problem with today's society. People don't take responsibility. It's all everybody else's fault. Everyone else's fault, just won't take responsibility, and the parents are encouraging this. Anyway, what else did I want to have a little waffle about? I'll be releasing a video quite soon, within a couple of hours, James English, the podcaster, who's been found guilty of domestic abuse. Oh, what a surprise that is. Not. Anyway, what else? Oh, so I just want to say thank you to everybody. Let me put my banner on. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Oh, is that the right banner? Find the right banner. I appreciate all of you that have subscribed, liked, shared videos, etc. And one special thank you, of course, to my members. What day is it today? It's Wednesday. Tomorrow night they will also, at some point tomorrow. It may be not at night. I don't know, but there'll be a special members live for my members, who I appreciate so much. Thank you to those of you who've bought Ko-fis, sent PayPals, all those extra ways you help my channel. Thank you so much. So on that token, I just want to remind you that in my coffee shop, everything is for August now, and we're coming to the end of August. It's the 26th. Everything is 25% off. So if you want a mug or t-shirt, and also look, my book, The Confessions of a Spanish Teacher, is only £6.75 at the moment because of the 25% off. And don't forget that all these prices include package and postage, so there's nothing else to pay. Okay, so t-shirts, glasses of wine, bottles of wine, it's 25% off everything. A thank you to those of you who've bought. And you know, some people, if you're not, like, some people contact me because they want things personalizing, they want to pay in a different way. So, you know, there's always a way that we can just get in touch with me at my email. But I think, especially if you've been interested in buying the book, £6.75, including postage and packaging, is probably the best price that you would get that book. I mean, it's on Amazon. I'm not sure how much it is on Amazon, but it's probably more than that, maybe a couple of quid more. So just wanted to tell you about that, or remind you about that. And that's on my Ko-fi page, which actually I'll put up the link. I don't feel very organised today, and I should be organised because actually it's cooled down a lot here in Spain. So much cooler, but it's still a little bit sticky, let's say, because still feels like we need a storm. The temperature's dropped, we've got a little breeze, but it's still quite humid. Anyway, it'll come. We had a little bit of rain this morning, but it never really materialised into what you'd call proper rain, like Manchester rain. Oh gosh, I'm going to sneeze. Bless me. Jesus, as we say in Spain. So yeah, that's the Ko-fi page, the Ko-fi link. I should really, maybe. Anyway, there it is. So, what else? So hello, you lovely lurkers. Thank you for watching. Hello to Replay Crew. Kisses for everybody. Thank you so much, everybody who watches, who comments. Of course, comments is another free way that you can improve the algorithm of my channel. You know, it doesn't cost anything to comment or to subscribe or to like or share. So those are free ways you can help my channel if you want to. Special thank you, as I say, to my... Oh, I've said that already. Yeah, I feel a little bit... Do you know what? I slept so well last night. I think sometimes when you sleep well, you feel even more tight the next day, if that makes sense. Because I've not been sleeping well, obviously, because of the heat. And last night, because it was a bit cooler, I slept so well. You know, but I don't know, I feel worse. I don't. I'm not tired. I feel great actually, but I just feel like my brain's not working properly. Maybe my brain never works properly. I don't. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So, what we're finding out about this case, this awful case, and as I said, I think it's going to take the police a long time to unpick what's happened in this case. You know, how this came to happen, you know, because there was a lot of conjecture in the beginning that might be due, you know, part of this sort of TikTok thing of people, young people filming themselves driving really fast. That is a TikTok craze. But it seems like it wasn't to do with that. It seems more likely that this is going to result that it's some part of some gang revenge, vendetta between gangs. You know, just still so pointless, isn't it? Because one of the boys by another car, did these boys then go off looking for the people that had done that? And that is that how all this tragic event happened? You know, makes you wonder, is it possible? So I'm going to read this article. Oops. I had the comments then and they disappeared. So the computer's jumping around. Hi, Boxing World. Hi, Sarah. Nice to see you both this morning. Hope you're well, whichever part of the world you're in. Now let me try and, oops, no, that's pressed the wrong button there on my phone. Just if I get the chat up on my phone, I can follow the chat and read the article at the same time. Yeah. Okay, so let's read this article. Now, don't forget, as always, let me know what you think about it all. Now, I said yesterday my own personal opinion, and I know it'll be young teenagers not doing anything. You know, they're on benefits. They're roaming around selling drugs, or they're in their basement smoking the drugs and on the, you know, computer. Like, they're not. These days, it's at work that will get people out of the house and get them socializing with other people and maybe seeing a different way. Look at the house here. So this is the young lad whose father's house was smashed into. That's his father there. As I say, we must remember there's no evidence that his father is involved in any of, if there's some sort of gang warfare going on between two groups of young people. Quite often they pick on the parents or the families. So that's him with his dad, and that's his dad's house on the left. Look what they did to it. Now it seems like, is this what was the catalyst for this whole event? You know, that some other gang of young men went out, rammed this lad's house, his dad's house, and did they go looking for them to take revenge on them? Thank you, Sarah. Sarah loves my waffle. Some people love it. I don't understand why, but some people do, and some people hate it. That's why on the live streams I do waffle a lot, but I will cut all the waffle off and upload the video later as just, you know, more a shorter video with less waffle, just for those who, you know, I do try and please everybody, even though I know you can't really, it's impossible, but some people like a shorter video, don't they? Look at the state of that house though. Imagine that. Imagine being in the front room or something and then a car comes ramming into your wall. It's terrifying, isn't it? Absolutely awful. It just gets worse, this. So, at the end of the day, 7 people have died, including this boy. I'm sure he was the apple of his dad's eye. I'm sure his dad loved him. Loves him. You know? Let's just see if I can play the video, see if it'll play okay. Sometimes when I try and play a video, it doesn't work properly. First.
Two police officers and 5 youths of Ackland in Middlesbrough. Just a few streets from where I'm standing now is the 5 youths who was killed. At 3 a.m. on Saturday morning, Mr. Worthy's home was targeted by the occupants making off. Within minutes of Colt Worthy, 4 of his friends had taken to the streets.
Now, I think I should be back now. Doesn't like it when I try and play a video. Just doesn't like it. I'm going to try one more time, but let me know that you can hear me okay. But when I put this video on, when I tried to put, in fact, I might just give up on the video because doesn't like it when I try and try and put a video, stream a video. Yeah, no. So I'm going to stop that. So annoying. Right. Because if I try and play the video, it just doesn't like it at all. So yes, Sarah, we live in a blame culture. It's everything's everybody else's fault, isn't it? Everything's everybody else's fault. It's the police's fault. It's the school's fault. It's nobody takes responsibility for their own shortcomings, their own actions. We all do silly things. We all do good things. Thing is, we're all human beings. We do good things in our lives. We do bad things in our lives. But we are responsible for our own lives. We can't always blame other people. I mean, there are some things, obviously, if somebody attacks you, and, it is their fault. But you can't blame other people, like, the families of these boys. One of them has come out and said, oh, it's the police's fault for chasing them or stopping. They should have stopped chasing them sooner. Why should they? How is it the police's fault? It's the boys' fault. The boys got in this car and they went looking for revenge because of what had happened at the house of the father of one of them. And they brought it on themselves. That doesn't mean to say I don't sympathise. I don't want to see young boys like that dying in these terrible circumstances. And of course, let's not forget the policemen that they killed. It's 7 people left this earth because of their recklessness. Their recklessness. Not the police. The police haven't got. It's like the police can't win. Is what they're supposed to do. Just let them ride around. They were trying to stop them. The boys' fault for not stopping when the police were chasing them. You know what? Sometimes I think I'm like in this Twilight universe or this parallel universe. I shouldn't have to say it was the boys' fault. It was the boys' fault. It's as clear as anything. They did it. They did it. And they paid the ultimate price, and I feel sorry for them and I feel sorry for their families. I really do. And, I wish they would have taken a different route in life. Why they made their choices. And it ended sadly in tragedy, not only for them, but the 2 policemen too. And what we were talking about in yesterday's video, and I know it won't be popular with a lot of people, but I do believe we should bring back national service. I'm getting more and more involved into this. When people think of national service, they think of fighting. It's not a question of sending off these young boys to die on the front line or whatever, or to fight in Gaza or to fight in Ukraine or anywhere. That's not what national service is about. I know many people here in Spain who did national, because they continued with national service probably long. It was called the Milli. They continued with it probably longer than most European countries. And people that I know that did it, they have only good things to say about it. You had to do a year. It was only a year, but they learned new skills. They went to places and had experiences that they wouldn't have had otherwise. They didn't fight at all. I mean, it can be community work. It doesn't have to be, it's not, sending them out to die in a war or whatever. National service it's like it's almost like they could call it, so national service sounds like that because of the throwback from the war, but they could call it something different, couldn't they? That it was obligatory. It's almost like a citizenship service. Young people, they don't have to do it. They shouldn't be allowed to just sit at home and collect benefits and become drug dealers or join gangs or sit on their Xbox 24 hours a day or smoke marijuana. And it's endemic, isn't it, with young people? And some young people go through it and come out the other side and then eventually become valuable members of societies, but some young people don't. Like these young people, they're never going to get the chance to turn their life around. Their life's ended, finished because of the bad choices that they made. And you know what? The devil makes work for idle hands. That's a saying, isn't it? And it is so true. They have to do something. They have to do something. I mean, we don't have community, they don't go to community centres, do they? I mean, they don't even, they do a lot online as well, so they don't even socialise as much as young people would have done once. I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you think. Maybe you don't agree with me. that's fine. But put it this way, the way society is going at the moment, a lot of them don't even go to school, do they? They don't go to school, they don't go to college, they're homeschooled or what have you, but where's the it hasn't improved society, has it? You know, it's getting worse, and cases like this just illustrate it. So anyway, it's understood that the house belonging to Guy Worthy was rammed twice by a Volvo, which deliberately reversed into the front window, causing extensive damage. We saw the damage. Within minutes, the Volkswagen Passat with his son Cole and 4 friends inside it was racing around the street. The Passat was that horrific crash. The few blades, the Mackay Sanity, except I think from Michael Cahill. I think he was the only one that didn't have previous convictions. So, saying here that reports of the crash until now describe them as joyriders. But it seems that they were out for revenge rather than thrill seeking. And the Mail understands that the occupants of the Volvo and the Passat. The thing is, these organised criminal networks, you know, these boys seem very young, don't they, to be involved in something like that? You know, 17. Oh dear me. They're just babies, really, aren't they? They're just babies. And they've gone the wrong way so early in life. And now their lives are over. So there's no suggestion that Cole's father, Guy, 39, was involved in any criminal activity. But the attack on his home appears to be the flashpoint that led to the fatal crash. And there you go. Look at that. I'm just speechless, really. Just so speechless. Look at the state of that, what they've done to it. Did they really think they'd be able to just do that? You know, reverse into a house like that and there would be no repercussions? Are they that blatant as well? They weren't scared of recriminations from the police, never mind from the rival gang. This is how blatant people are now. And there's CCTV everywhere, so you know that's how they know what vehicle it was involved, etc. There are people so blatant in this crazy world that we're living in that they will just do something as blatant as that and sod the consequences. And the consequences of this action were the death of 7 people. But you know, even if that hadn't happened, these boys were going to get caught, the boys that did this. But they weren't, people aren't scared of consequences because there are no consequences. So I was reading that the uncle of one of those boys that died in that crash, he was given about 18 months for dangerous driving, for doing similar thing. 18 months. It's not enough, is it? I'd be very surprised if he even served 18 months. You know, and it goes back to the endemic problem. The prisons are full and they're releasing people. These boys aren't scared of consequences because there are none. And they get like kudos, you know, from their subcultures. They're heroes. Look at this boy, his attitude on his face. his dad looks, quite nice, doesn't he? Like, it looks like, he's smiling there for the camera. And the boy's got the attitude on his face right there. So it was his dad's house that rival gang reversed into. Said Mr. Worthy lived a normal life and there's no suggestion he was involved in criminal activity. So this is this was the, where they set off the balloons and the flares to sort of send off one of the boys. I mean, come on. That just looks like something from, I don't know, it looks like the Ku Klux Klan or something like that. It's not good. It's not good. The death of these boys cannot be celebrated. That's like a celebration, isn't it? Giving them a send-off. They killed 2 policemen and they killed themselves with their stupid actions. God. And they released all these balloons. I'd like to play that video, but I don't know if... it's sort of playing in the background. Look at that. These are subcultures. They should have, to pay respect to 5 boys that have died and 2 policemen. Not this. Flares, balloons, trying to make them anti-heroes. There's young lads there on bikes and things. They'll be watching that and thinking, oh, I want to be like them when I grow up. In this guy's home in Ruskin Avenue. At 3 a.m, neighbours heard 2 loud bangs. At Ruskin Avenue in Acklam, Middlesbrough, Guy Worthy's home was rammed. And shortly after 3 a.m, police became aware of a Volvo XC60 and a Volkswagen Passat at large in the streets, both using cloned plates. Whose cars were these? I wonder. The thing is, these boys, if they were involved in drug gangs and things, they probably had money. 100% they're probably on benefits as well. But they will have had money from their gang activity, maybe dealing drugs, etc. So maybe maybe the older guy who was driving, I presume, the 23-year-old, or one of them, one of the older guys that was driving, maybe it was their own cars. I don't know. Using cloned plates. Where do you even get cloned plates from? How do you even know how to get cloned plates at that age? So at 3:32, police encountered the Volkswagen Passat in East Middlesbrough and gave chase. And that's what happened, The police gave chase and the police stopped chasing. As soon as they turned, the car they were chasing went on to the A66 in the wrong direction. The policeman seconds later. So don't forget, there won't have been time in 10 seconds, for, I presume that the policemen that were driving there on the road, they had a police radio, but it seems like it wasn't even time to warn anyone. So I'm sure as they were driving up that A66, if they would have heard over the radio, attention, sort of, car driving the wrong way up the A66, but there just wasn't time. Literally within 10 seconds, all those people were dead. God, terrible. Who'd want to live in Middlesbrough? Who'd want to live there? But people have to live there. And the thing is, it does. This is what I was saying yesterday. It was those two policemen that happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, but it could have been anyone. Could have been if you live in Middlesbrough, or your family, or your loved ones, or your friends live in Middlesbrough, or anywhere in that area. Could have been any of you. You know, these people, they don't discriminate. They live on the adrenaline, so they don't give a shit who might be drawn into it or murdered, well, killed. It is like murder, though, isn't it? Really, it is like murder, really. So at 3:36, the Passat was caught on CCTV being pursued by 3 police cars on Lime Road in Teesville. So I think that's a picture of that. So I mean, are they thick? I mean, they are so thick because they're obviously not going to get away with it. They can't be scared of the consequences. They wouldn't have been expecting, you know, these terrible consequences of actually being, you know, killed or people being killed. But they don't care about the consequences. They know they're going to get caught. Maybe they've got clone number plates or whatever, but they know they're going to be caught on CCTV, surely. CCTV, because, you know, that's the way of the world these days. They don't care, and they don't care because the consequences of being caught don't matter. They're not severe enough. They know that, so they don't care. Anyway, so how quick this happened, really, when you think about it. So from and then 3:39, 40 minutes, not even 40 minutes later, the Passat turns the wrong way onto the A66. And 10 seconds later, they're all dead. They're all dead. And those boys, they will have done that on purpose. They will have gone down that road the wrong way because they'll have known that the police won't follow them then. But they know. But what they didn't know is there was another vehicle coming up the other way, and it happened to be the 2 guys, 2 policemen, but it could have been anyone. Literally, could have been a family, there could have been a baby in there, could have been anyone, could have been someone they knew. That's the randomness of it. 7 people dead. Oh dear. Anyway, so there's been more arrests. Latest arrests yesterday were a 16-year-old boy on suspicion of participating in an organised crime group. 16. An 18-year-old man on suspicion of participating in an organised crime group. A 21-year-old man on suspicion of participating in an organised crime group. A 55-year-old man on suspicion of assisting an offender. That's probably the dad of one of them. A 23-year-old man on suspicion of threats to kill. And these arrests come after the ones from the day before. 12 people arrested, again, various ages. And 4 of the suspects are also accused of possessing Class A and B drugs. There's always drugs at the bottom of it. Drugs, scourge of modern society, with intent to supply. And 2 of the 12 previously arrested have now appeared in court. Kai Beattie, 19, of Foxrush Court, Redcar, appeared before Teesside Magistrates Court, charged with possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life. Oh, 19. Cameron George, 26, of Micklow Close, Redcar, was remanded in custody to appear at Teesside Crown Court on September the 21st, charged with drug offences and possession of criminal property. And the chain of events 5 suburb of Acklam on a usually quiet street of post-war semis. So, seems like the guy's dad lived in a nice area of Middlesbrough. No, it's not a good advert for Middlesbrough, is it, really, either? So the huge bang woke everyone up, and it was then followed by a second. And whatever happened was quick, because by the time my husband looked out the window, the car was gone, but there was very bad damage to the house. One neighbour of the Worthies said that Cole's father had lived at the address for around 10 years, and he led a normal life. He is listed at Company's House as the director of a private limited company called Worthy Lift Limited, which was incorporated in July this year. They probably, oh dear, I'm just speechless, really. So after the attack on his father's house, Colworthy and his mates were out in the Volkswagen Passat looking for whoever had done this. There had been a series of houses rammed in Middlesbrough in the last few months, and it's all part of a feud between rival criminal factions. When they fight amongst themselves, it's one thing, but when innocent lives like those of 2 police officers are lost, that's completely another. Well, I don't think it is one thing when they fight between themselves. What is that like saying, no, it's okay as long as they're fighting between themselves? It's not okay. Because when gangs fight between themselves, innocent people always get hurt. In drive-by shootings and things like that, quite often innocent people get in the crossfire. So no, it's not okay. Even if it's just between them, it's not okay. It is not okay. These young people, they're too young. They should be doing more positive things, honestly. Something's got to be done about engaging young people who are not, if they're not working and they're not in education, they should be doing some sort of community. They should be obliged to do it. I mean, it'll never happen. Not in the UK, will it? Because all the do-gooders will be like, oh, no, you can't make people do things like that against their will. Yeah, you should be able to. Because this is the result of letting them do what they want. Terrible. In the meantime, everybody's blaming immigrants for all the ills in the UK. Look at this. So, Cleveland police has confirmed that both the Volvo and the Volkswagen Passat formed part of their inquiries in the early hours of August the 22nd. Mr. Worthy's home was rammed at around 3. By 3:36, the Passat was caught on CCTV racing at between 80 and 100 miles an hour down Mine Road in Teesville, pursued by 3 police vehicles. Even that in itself, I mean, all right, it's the early hours of the morning, so there probably wasn't many people around, if anybody. But, there could have been animals, dogs, cats. There could have been people. There are people wandering around at that time in the morning. Just lucky, I suppose, nobody got killed there. Or is it lucky? I don't even know if that's the right word, because you could have even just been, I don't know, putting your bin out or whatever. At 3:39, it turned the wrong way onto the A66 dual carriageway, at which point the pursuing police vehicle stopped. And 10 seconds later, it smashed head-on into the armed response vehicle, carrying PC's cloth and blades. There you go. Anyway, there's Matthew Blades, Tom Clough. Look at him. I love this picture with this little duck. He looks so happy. You know, his little duck just sat there in his hand. Just so sad. Heartbreaking. And his men who also died in the crash. They're dead. Gone. You know, their families have got to get over this and know that it was their own fault. It was their fault. Can't blame the police. They wouldn't have been out there in that car driving the wrong way up the A66. Even what they were doing beforehand was dangerous. They chose to do that. So they have the responsibility for it. Not the police. Nobody else is responsible. These boys are responsible for their own demise, sadly. So there's going to be more, tributes to these boys. So obviously the tribute with the just the balloons pollute the environment for a start, and then it looked like a Ku Klux Klan rally to me. I mean, it just looked horrible, scary. So that's him, Jacob. That's Jacob. He's dead. Mackay. He's dead. 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 And he had posed on trial for racially abusing and assaulted officers. So a real, upstanding pillar of the community. This was the only guy who didn't have any convictions. Wonder if he was older. I think he's 23. He's the one with the grey around his neck. He looks nice, doesn't he? Anyway, so you shouldn't speak ill of the dead, but again, he's another one brought it on himself. He shouldn't have been doing it. Take responsibility. His family. I would like to see the family, and I feel for the families 100%. Because if this was my son, I'd be absolutely devastated. But I would be right out there saying this should be a letter of eulogizing bad actions that these boys, bad choices these boys made. This should be an opportunity for the families to come out and say to young people, don't do what my boy did. Look what happened to my boy. Make sure you don't go the same way. That would be the opportunity, wouldn't it? Oh, and apparently the supporters of these boys have been painting graffiti all over the community centre where they were allowed to do some sort of a tribute. So they've, put graffiti all over it, about, bad things about the police and good things about these boys. I mean, what's going on? So apparently there was one of PC Clough and PC Blades. And hundreds of people on social media criticised yesterday's scenes. Diane Pennock said, I get it that families and friends will be devastated and grieving, but surely in circumstances where they have killed two innocent men who were simply out doing their jobs, you grieve in private. I personally, I'd say I would be out there pleading with other young boys not to go down this same route. To me, the public show of grief is completely excusing what they have done, and that they have taken two young men's lives who had families and children they should have gone home to. Yeah, disrespect, total disrespect. And of course, the balloon release was also criticised by environmental campaigners. They just don't care about anything except this warped little subculture that they live in, where they've created their own anti-heroes. These boys were not heroes, they were drug dealers. They were violent drug dealers with no respect for anything or anyone. That's the truth of it. They weren't good people. That doesn't mean to say that it's good that they're dead. I would never think that. But you just think, where were they going in their lives? Where were they going to end up? Where do they? I think where do they? Probably because their crimes escalate, don't they? And in the end, they'll probably just keep, they get away with it when they're young, because a lot of young people get away with things just because of their age. But as time goes on, they probably end up being serial offenders and end up in prison one way or another. Hey, Moonbeam. What happens to them? Like some of these boys, a couple of them were not even 20. So what happens to them when they're in their 40s? What happens to them when they have kids? Do they encourage their kids to do the same thing? Hey, Kelly. Terrible, isn't it? Now I was just saying, and I know you'll understand, Kelly, because you've got young sons as well. Young adult sons. Well, first of all, you would hope that your sons would never get involved in anything like this. But young people do get dragged into things. I know that, and some of them do. Everyone deserves a second chance. But if in a case like this, these boys will never get a second chance because they're dead. But if I was the parent of one of these boys, I would be out there appealing to other young people, please don't make the same mistake my boy made. Not out there blaming the police or doing organising these ridiculous tributes that just, what. Oh my God. Stop the world, I want to get off. Yeah, just crackers, isn't it? Crackers. So, plenty of the residents of the surrounding streets chose not to attend the memorial events. And looking at the police officers standing beside their vehicles, a 58-year-old grandmother said, "What must they be thinking right now? This is nothing but a mockery of the lives of those two policemen. I've watched them walking down there drinking, smoking weed, razzing about on their motorbikes. There's nothing to celebrate." And Paul Williams, acting Deputy National Chairman for the Police Federation of England and Wales, told BBC Breakfast, "Every day we can identify now numerous examples of young people sensationalising dangerous driving. Not just dangerous driving, but baiting police officers who are out there to protect the public. It's a real problem. It's causing officers concern. They shouldn't have to be going out and worrying about whether they're going to return home from their shift or not. But on top of that, wondering if they're going to be plastered all over social media. It's absolutely unacceptable. And social media platforms need to take some action." So there's definitely a crisis. not only in the UK, I think probably in other countries. Ireland, as I say, they had a similar incident. But particularly in the UK, the UK is like just breaking down, isn't it? So there's a policing crisis because who'd want to be a policeman? Literally, who would want to be a policeman or woman? But we need the police. Whatever people say, I know they have to be monitored. They have to be, it's policing by consent, and I don't agree with letting the police get away with whatever they want. But who? Their hands are tied, aren't they? The police can't do anything without being criticised. For various reasons, they've got to do everything exactly right. But in the meantime, these feral hooligans are just wandering around making everyone's life a misery. And, what are the consequences? What are the consequences for these boys? If these boys, let's suppose the boys would have lived and but the two police guys died, what would have happened to these boys? Two of them are only 17. So would they have even got a custodial sentence? Would it be manslaughter, I suppose, or I don't know? Or would they just prosecute the actual driver and the ones that are passengers in the car? Would they have really maybe not even got a custodial sentence if they would have survived? What would the consequences have been for killing these two police officers? I mean, as it happens, they paid the highest price because they've died as well. But if they would have survived, what sort of sentences would they be looking at? Probably not much. Anyway, it's just horrible. Yeah. Yeah, it's true what you say, Kelly. It's not only police. Nobody wants to be a policeman. Nobody who'd want to be a paramedic because they get it. Just the thought of going to a scene like this and having to remove 7 bodies from 2 cars. And sorry, I'm going to say it out there, and it's true. There's no point in skirting around it. They would have been completely mangled in those cars. Completely, you can imagine it. What those paramedics and first responders will have had to see and would get removed from the cars. Just don't bear thinking about. Thank God there are people who will do it. But, it's not a nice job, is it? They don't get paid loads either. You know what I mean? They just, when you think it's all wrong. That's the other thing that's all wrong. The people that do perform really important jobs in our society don't get recompensed properly, do they? Carers who care for our elderly. We found out during COVID who the important people were, didn't we? The bin men, bus drivers, supermarket workers. All these are all the things that keep society moving, if you like, or make our lives endurable. Doctors, nurses, ambulance staff, etc., police. And then they don't get recompensed properly, do they? And during COVID, it was all, oh yeah, let's clap for the nurses. You clap them, give them a rise, pay them proper money. Really clapping for them once a week, that makes no difference whatsoever, does it? It's all wrong, isn't it? Politicians getting 80 odd grand a year. You know, what are they doing that's positive at the moment? Because politics in the UK is just broken as well. You know, forget it. The UK is a joke country. Then you've got the King, Charlie Boy, the royal family, costing millions, homes all over the place. You know, getting a round of applause because the way he's dealing with cancer, he's got every give a therapy and they haven't got transport. Worry about how they're going to pay their mortgage or support their families while they're going through chemotherapy. Not just hand over their kids to a nanny. You know, then you had bloody Weak Willie and Prissy Kate and her cancer journey. You know, do you think that they suffered the same way that normal people suffer when they're going through one of their loved ones is going through cancer? They've got the best doctors. They don't have to. You know, when my niece was going through chemotherapy, she had to get on a bus with a load of other people, go right over to the other side of Manchester for her chemo, and then wait for all the others to have their chemo, and then come back and drop all the others off. And you know, you talk about it would take a whole day for her to do that. Wasn't like, oh, you know, I don't know what happened with Charlie Boy, whether he had to go for chemo to a hospital or whether they brought it to him. I don't know, but you can bet he won't have had to wait or go on a bus with another load of people. And you know, Weak Willie, he was always, poor William having to cope with the kids while Kate's ill. Do you think he had to cope with the kids? You know, you get this thing. He's not there trying to cook the meal and look after the kids and do this, that, and the other. They've got nannies, they've got cleaners, they've got, you know, it just. And in the meantime, people are struggling, you know, having to decide between food or electricity. And the royal family's still there. So anyway, the UK is just hey moonbeam. So they get a Masonic hospital. Of course, exactly. They get special treatment. Of course, they do get special treatment for everything. Yeah, Kelly, I don't blame you. I've tried to stop doom scrolling a lot, you know, or do it less. I mean, it's sort of fascinating, isn't it? It's like you almost can't help it sometimes. You know, if you just sat with you've got 10 minutes spare or whatever, it's just automatic, isn't it, to go to your phone. But you never feel better after you come off it, do you? You know, that's it. People trying to get to hospital. Never. I mean, it doesn't have to be for chemo, does it? It doesn't have to be for chemo. It could be for anything. How do you get there if you've got no transport? Maybe you've got nobody to take you or whatever. So you're saying you bumped into a woman. She was getting a train to Nottingham to go to a hospital. Oh dear, oh dear. Ah, it's a mad world, isn't it? It's a mad world. Anyway, to be positive, then at least there are people in it like Dolly Parton or the were. Of course, we've lost her now, but she's left this fantastic um, legacy. Yeah, not everything is negative, I suppose. Yeah, I think we're completely bombarded at the moment with the wars, you know, and the wars that are having, you know, my thing is the petrol's gone up again. You know, it's like, just give us a break. You know, everyone's just trying to we're all trying to pay our bills. Food's just astronomically high. Everything's so expensive these days. And then the petrol goes up because of the orange moron in the White House. Because he can't, the war that was supposed to only last 3 days or whatever, it's still going on. The Ukraine war's still going on. Where's the peace talks? You got the bloody Prime Minister. I've never known. Kiev. Who hasn't visited Kiev? I'm thinking of going there on the holidays. It's like, for a war zone, what's supposed to be a war zone. How many people are visiting there all the time? Then you've got Gaza. We're not even allowed to see what's happening in Gaza. You can be bet there'll be nobody left in Gaza by the time Netanyahu's finished with it. Then you've got, that's why I started vaping again. But I say again, I'd never vaped before in my life, and now I'm vaping like mad. Yeah, it's true, David. It is all a big distraction. The Epstein file's still going on. Nobody is going to be held accountable. You know that, don't you? Until Donald Trump dies, I've been looking about the Fayed. So, everybody's talking now about Mohammed Fayed, Dodi's dad. Now he's dead. It's all about all these terrible things that he did. Nobody did anything about it while he was alive. I just think, what? It's like Jimmy Savile. All these things, like afterwards, everyone said, oh, yeah, we knew they were PDFs. Well, why were they not prosecuted while they were alive? So nothing's going to happen while Donald Trump is alive. And even after he dies, powerful people are not going to be held to account ever. Nobody's going to be held to account. It's just nobody's ever going to be held to account. And in the meantime, he's fallen asleep in bloody meetings and whatever. This is the president of the United States. Oh, but I just can't even go there. Just can't go there with any of it. Yeah, I don't think anyone will go to jail, David, or not for years. It'll get strung out so long, I probably won't live to see it. They'll be too old to go to jail. Or I don't think anybody's ever going to be held accountable, and definitely not Andrew, formerly known as Prince. He'll carry on living out his life in Sandringham, and people the Charlie boy trying to say it's a punishment for him. It's not punishment. He's living on a royal estate. He's protected, and everyone's having a go at Harry and Meghan. What exactly has Harry and Meghan done wrong, except not believe in the not respect the institution of the monarchy? That's what they did wrong. They fell in love, went to live in another country to escape from all the negativity, and they're going to come back. I wonder if they're coming back briefly. I think Charlie boy is really poorly, perhaps, and because they did go and visit him not long ago, didn't they? It just makes you wonder, is he on his way out? Is that why they're coming back? Anyone heard from William lately? He's been on holiday for about 3 months. He hasn't done bugger all. We don't even know what's going on behind the scenes with the royal family. They're doing bugger all. They come out every now and again, do a day's work, in inverted commas, go and open a fete or do a talk or something. That's supposed to be work. That's supposed to be work and justify, the luxury that they live in. It's crackers, all of it. Yeah, they were, Kelly, they did. I think, yeah, but don't you think that in the beginning, I don't think they realised exactly what was involved. Anyway, I don't know, but I'm not sticking up for them. I don't like any of the royal. It's not that I don't like them. I don't have views towards them. I don't believe in the royal family. Full stop. So that's it, as far as I'm concerned. But I don't. What all I'm trying to say is I don't understand. I literally do not understand why they get reviled so much when you've got a man there who's actually a paedophile. He doesn't get the same hate they do. So I just don't understand that. You know, that's what I don't understand. I don't understand the level of hate. And I think Camilla's behind a lot of it. I think Camilla is an absolute witch. And she's been behind, you know, a lot of it, in my opinion. But yeah, Meghan was probably, you know, and it's a bit like Diana, really, when you think about it. Princess Diana marrying a prince, marrying Charles. I mean, let's face it, if Charlie Boy wouldn't have been a prince, he wouldn't have won any, you know, women wouldn't have been falling at his feet, would he? He's not exactly the most handsome man. He's never been a handsome man. You know, and he's like a wuss, isn't he, as well? You know, he's a moaner, a complainer. Um, but yeah, there was Diana. She was another one, 17, 18 years old. Oh my God, are you going to be princess? You're going to be queen one day. And she genuinely was in love with Charlie in the beginning, but she was in love with the idea of it. She didn't know, well, she didn't know about Camilla at first, for a start. You know, when she found out that actually Charlie, he wanted to marry Camilla, he should have been brave enough to marry Camilla. He should never have married Diana. He married Diana for heirs. That's it. She was a brood mare used to create heirs for the royal family. He never loved her. He was jealous of her because she got more attention than him. You know, he liked Camilla because Camilla, she understands more, doesn't she, about how you have to stand in the background. And you know, Camilla, she's been like Lady Macbeth, hasn't she? In the background, and finally became queen. She's not the queen. She'll never be a queen. She tried to, you know, they're trying to call her the queen. She's not the queen. She's just a nasty woman, an adulterer, you know. And listen, not criticizing her because she's an adulterer. There's many adulterers out there, but she's not like Miss Perfect, is she? And she loved Charles, I presume, and Charles loved her. But then he should have been brave enough to say, no, I'm going to marry Camilla, shouldn't he? Yeah, William, in my opinion, William is all lip service to all, you know, says this, that, and the other. He's a slum landlord, a voice for the homeless. He's a slum landlord. All he's interested in is money. He's not a nice person, William, at all. I can't bear him, to be honest. So, you know, whereas Harry, I wouldn't say I'm in favour of him or not in favour of him, but I think he's quite a decent person, personally. And I think him and Meghan have a genuine relationship, whereas I think William and Kate, that ship has sailed for them. They haven't got a proper relationship now. He's doing whatever he's doing, she's doing, I don't know, whatever she's doing. They're living separately. I can't see any love between them at all. I don't see, when I see William and Kate together, I don't see any love. Whereas I do think with Harry and Meghan, they do love each other at least, you know. But I don't care really, because it's nothing to do with me. I just get rid of the whole royal family as far as I'm concerned. David, that thought, I'm just about to have my lunch in a moment. Do you know that thought you've just presented me with? It's not good. Oh dear, oh my God. What did Diana ever see in him? The thing about Diana is she was young and she was swayed by the fact he was going to be the king one day and blah, 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 blah. That was practically paedophilia. I mean, he was a 30 and she was a teenager. Nowadays that would get really frowned upon, wouldn't it? So, and then Diana, once she woke up to what was really going on, she, God, he should have counted himself lucky to have someone like Diana swooning over him. And he was so jealous of her because he's such a little jealous little prick. He's like, he didn't like instead of showing her off and being proud of this beautiful young wife he had that he was lucky to have, instead of the bulldog chewing a wasp that is Shamilla. He was jealous of her because she was getting more attention than him. People were more interested in Diana than they were in him, and Charles's ego couldn't stand it. Anyway, there you go. Waffled on again at the end there. So yeah, going back to what we were talking about. What is the answer as far as these young people are concerned? If you don't agree with me about national servicemen, that's the wrong way to call that. I don't mean sending these young boys out to shoot people and, join wars and things. I'm talking about some sort of, maybe like they used to have in Spain with the Millie, like a year where they have to learn skills and go places, do community work, etc. What do you think is the answer then? If you don't believe in the sort of idea of making young people do a year of some sort of community service or national service, what is the answer then to this chaos in Britain of these young people who are just, joining drug gangs, causing havoc like's happened here in Middlesbrough? What is the answer then? Okay, yeah, we haven't done any Discord for ages. I keep forgetting about Discord. I should go in there more because you can be more private in there, can't you? I might post my birthday. So I've still got my birthday video. I'm going to talk about that in the members tomorrow as well. But yeah, I might post them in the Discord. I keep forgetting about Discord, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go have some lunch. Yeah, that's basically it, really. Well, I was going to have some lunch, but I've been put off it now with the thought of Charlie Boy performing. Oh. Do you know, there are some things that money and blue blood cannot buy you, and that is charisma, good looks, likability. Dear. Sometimes I do feel sorry for Charlie Boy because I feel like, his dad didn't think much of him, did he? Philip didn't think much of him. He thought he was a bit of a Jesse type. So I do think, having Prince Philip as your dad, look at the sons he's brought up. So you've got Edward, he's not much better, it's all gone quiet about Edward, but there's been a lot of scandals around him. Andrew, of course, and Charlie Boy. The only one that has in that family that has shown any mettle whatsoever is Anne. But even her, really, now the more I find out about her, and the fact she defends Andrew so much, None of them care about the plebs. They could not give a shit about the plebs. The plebs are just resources for them. People to clean their houses, cook their food, do that. We need plebs as far as they're concerned. You need plebs to do all those kind of things, be your valet, do your gardens, but they don't care about them as people. That's really, when you think about it, in this modern day and age, what is the difference between the royal family and the way they're positioned above everybody else and like emperors of Japan or or anywhere, any sort of dictators and despots? What's the difference? What is the difference? Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, mandatory community work. Yeah, why not? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm definitely going this time. I've got waffling again. I'll see you really soon in the next video. Take care. And until I see you again, may your God go with you. Don't forget to leave your DNA on the like button, the subscribe button, and the share button. Thank you. Bye.